Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your time. For those of you that it's the first time here, welcome. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you repeat in future meetings. And let me quickly explain to you what we try to do in these kinds of meetups. So first, we really want to kind of share some numbers on how it is that the health of the community is evolving. We share some metrics. We share also some very interesting community contributions. And then it just depends from meetup to meetup. Sometimes we like to do webinars when we deep dive into specific topics. If you missed maybe some interesting webinars in data quality, data lineage, data insights, we have all of that content uploaded in YouTube. So you can just go ahead and find and learn and understand everything that we are building on these awesome features on the platform. And in some other meetings, such as the one of today, we're going to go through what it is that we are cooking, what it is that the Open Metadata community is preparing for the next release. That's going to be the release 1.3. That being said, these are the community stats since we last saw each other. So we have 14 more open source developers. We crossed the 200 mark. Super happy about that. We are very, very close to almost 3,200 stars. So those of you that are here or that are watching this eventually in YouTube and have not yet started the project, please go on. We're going to share the links. This is one of the easiest ways that you have to spread the love of the product and to help us share the word around. We are almost at 4,500 community members in Slack. As you can see, the Slack community is growing a lot, meeting by meeting, month by month. We are super excited to see you all of there in there. So this is the best place for you in case that you have any questions, you have any feedback, you want any recommendations in how you can run the product. We are there 24/7. Happy to hear you, happy to read you. But also those of you that are already veterans in the project, I already see some names here that people that has been following us for months. I'm sure that you are already experts in some topics. Don't be shy. Help the rest of the community. We are super, super grateful when you're also giving us a hand in answering all these incoming questions that we get. And finally, in the people in the community, both in Twitter and in the meetup group, we are very, very close to 2,000 people in there. So you can follow us, make sure that you get all the nice events that we are doing here in the community. Then since I think that we met in end of October, right? So since the end of October, we have had 21 community contributions. So very, very thankful to all of you that put the time into understanding the project, into putting the time into figuring things out and helping make us, helping get the platform into the next level. Either you find an issue, we have a lot of good first issues that maybe you want to go in there, get your hands on and just have some fun while developing in open source. That's great. But also if there's just something that's bugging you, you see this error, please don't hesitate, open a PR. We can guide you, we can help you get things going. But we are always happy to see names and to see people giving us a hand in the project. This time, we would like to highlight two very, very good PRs that we have received from the community. This first one is from Chiweyi. They have helped us into bringing in the connector for Apache Doris. So in case that you're using Doris in your company, now you have the metadata ingestion and you have the profiler natively out of the box in OpenMetadata. So stay tuned because this is going to be there for you in the release 1.3 coming from the hand of the community. And we also have from Anatoly this rapid doc improvement. So if you go into the server, you know that you can click and you can get basically the docs to just try to understand a bit more how the API works. The framework that we had so far, sometimes it wasn't as fast as we wanted. You know that developers, engineers, we can be a little bit impatient. So Anatoly helped us migrate this framework to RapidDoc, and I was just trying it out. It's lightning fast. It's great. So thank you very much for putting the time into improving the user experience for everyone playing with Open Metadata. If we now jump into the community metrics, as you can see, we are usually around 50 PRs per week, with interesting peaks where we went above 75 merged PRs. So very nice job that the community is doing, very nice job that the team, to make sure that we keep adding tests, we keep adding documentation, we keep adding new features and bugs. So anything that you find, anything that you want to get your hands on, you can help us bump all these numbers as well. And for the past few meetings, I think that in the last 3 or 4 months, we have been very, very stable at 100 questions per week. And in this time, in the last 4 weeks, we were just around 406. So a very nice 100 round number that we have here every week. We try to answer all these questions. We really want to make sure that you are succeeding, trying out OpenMetadata, putting it into prod, making sure that all of your connectors, all of your questions are getting answered there. But again, 100 questions per week, that's still a lot of questions. So if there is any one of you that you're like, oh yeah, I know how Tableau works, maybe I can give a hand here. So please don't be shy. Let's help each other. Let's make sure that we are all succeeding using OpenMetadata. And now I'm just going to pass the work to Shilpa, because here at the team, it's been doing an awesome work with the how-to guides on the documentation. So please, Shilpa, the floor is yours. Let us know the amazing work you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Perry. Yeah, and I'm Shilpa, and I work in developer relations and the technical documentation part. So here we are going to talk about the how to guide section that we have in our documents. And this is all the no code part of the documentation, like all the things, all the steps that you can do from the UI. And here in how to guides, we've divided it by features. So you've got documentation based on features like discovery, collaboration, data quality, profiler, and all these. So you can navigate, like when you navigate to any one of these feature-based documentation, you have on the left-hand panel, like all the docs that are related to this specific feature. And you can also, in the overview docs, like if you were to talk about the glossary, you can just scroll down to the end of the page to get an overview of all the documentation that you can find, all the information about all the features specific to, say, governance or discovery or any of these. And anytime you want to navigate out to like any of the other features, so you just have to click on the how to guides to get to the home page, and from there you can like view the other sections of documentation. And we apart from feature documentation, we also have documentation based on admin guides and guides for data users. So in the admin guides, you have all the information that you would need when you were to start, like how to ingest, how to create teams, how to invite users. We have these admin guides. And apart from that, we also have guides for data users. So these would all be those simple steps that you can do from the UI, like if you want to create an announcement, or you want to request for tags, add a description, create custom properties. So this would be for all the other data users, and we have a separate section for the admins. And apart from some basic documentation, we also have advanced guides. So these would be like for admins, like if they want to know more about the roles and policies. So they do have a section where they can go and get more information on something. And in most of these documents, what we've done is we've gotten with the step-by-step approach with images, so like how to navigate from the UI and accomplish like whatever feature or functionality that you're trying to explore. And what we've also done is, like, say you want to know about all that you have in the data insights report, like all the various kinds of reports that you can view in data insights. So even that's there in these guides. So you can just refer to one of the articles about the reports and get a complete overview of all the reports that are available for you. And apart from just having these docs and steps, we've had like multiple webinars which have been feature based, And in each of these webinars, we've covered in depth about some feature in OpenMetadata. So in all the overview guides for main features, so you can just refer the overview guides to also check out the relevant webinars. And we've started this recently, but this is another thing that we're working on. So rather than just having these step-by-step UI guides with images, we are working on these short video tutorials. So this would give you an overview of the feature, the do's and don'ts, as well as all the steps that you can follow with a quick video tutorial. We've just started this. We have a lot more to add, but this is also something that you can find in these how-to guides. And yeah, when you're referring to these guides, do watch out for, all these tips that we've added. So that would be just like, if you were to add announcements, like it would give you some tips, like, what would be the most ideal case to be adding announcements, like when you have some backward incompatible changes, or apart from adding these announcements, you could simply add alerts to Slack or email. So just watch out for these tips in these articles as well. And we've also covered use cases. So for like most of the features, we've just started, so we would be adding more of this, but you would be finding use cases. This would be based on how people have been using open metadata and ideal use cases for the features. And apart from that, like, do watch out for the best practices. So for most of the features, we would be adding best practices, like what you can follow if you were to be like working on, say, data governance or data discovery. Like we're just adding some tips and some material that you can refer to make the best use of the features in open metadata. Thank you.
Hi, just to add some more context to the how-to guides, I'm sure you're running open metadata in production. You're probably getting a lot of questions. Hey, how do I import glossary? How do I create roles to assign to teams and so on? So all of those things are covered in open metadata documentation right now. So it will be easier for your technical users and non-technical users to adapt and use open metadata successfully. So if you have any feedback, feel free to give us, and if you want to contribute, to the documentation, we're more than happy to help you with that.
Awesome. Thank you, Shilpa. Thank Harsha. Please, doubling down on this, do let us know what do you think about these guides? Do let us know if they are useful. What do you think that we can do better in there? In the end, our main goal here is to make sure that you are all thriving while using the product, that you have the best experience, that you know how to make the fullest out of it. So we are here to hear you out. We're here to help you out. And if you want to contribute, if you want to give us a hand in there, it's markdown files. So please, anyone can come, can chip in, and can help us keep improving all of these docs, all of these how-to guides. And now just bear with me a couple of more minutes, because we are going to start introducing everything that we are preparing so far for the 1.3 release. We are planning to land that on January 2024. So we are going to have, as always, new connectors, the GCS storage connector, that's going to be for Collate, but then in open metadata, we're going to bring the native iceberg connector. And as we were just discussing, this Doris connector, thank you for the community contribution. We are also doing a very interesting Lineage UI revamp that Harsh is going to talk more about that, but this is going to be super exciting for you to get the best insights out of the Lineage view. We are also doing a lot of improvements in the alerts and the data observability. We are going to talk about that in a bit. We have also improved quite a lot the ingestion performance. We basically moved a few pieces on the internals, which calls we're making, how do we interact with the server to make sure that the process keeps going faster and faster, release after release. Then getting back into Collate, we're starting our Gen AI journey. It's exciting. We are figuring things out. We are playing out with that. And we are happy to say, okay, let's see if we make it in 1.3 with this meta pilot application and start to use Gen AI for some description generation. Stay tuned for this, because we're going to double down on the new year to show you what are we doing and what's going to be the college's roadmap in the world of the generative AI. Then Spark users, we want to make you happy. You know that you can get Spark Lineage if you're using Databricks. We also have the Spline connector, but we know that it has some shortcomings because every time it's just generating new pipelines, it's basically a bit hard to make sense of all the information that there is there. So what we are building now for the 1.3 release is a Spark Lineage agent for you to put into your Spark code in order for us to extract what tables are happening in there, what's the lineage, what are the pipelines, basically what's the end-to-end process of all of your Spark ETLs. So this is going to be very, very exciting. Then getting back into Collate, you know that in the 1.2 we released the knowledge centers. Knowledge center, this is where you can go. You can start preparing all of your articles or of your write-ups on how people can use your data, or basically just give context that you want for your data practitioners to make the most out of everything that you are preparing on your data platform. So we are improving that, and Sachin is going to explain us what those improvements are. And now, finally, jumping into the data quality world, we have prepared an incidents manager. So right now, you know, okay, a test fails, you get an alert, but then what, right? So that is going to explain us what's going to be the full life cycle of this incident management directly from OpenMetadata, and how we are expanding our profiling system, our metrics, for you to write your own custom metrics. And that being said, I'm going to pass the word to Teddy, that's going to share all of these new goodies that we have on the data quality world.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks, Perry, for the introduction. All right, awesome. So as Perry mentioned, in 1.3, we are introducing Incident Manager. Oops, sorry. So to give you a quick overview of what we've shipped so far when it comes to data quality. So we have about 30 plus native tests that you can run directly from the platform. We have support for database and data lake connectors, right? So you can run and execute those quality tests against those different sources inside OpenMetadata. Then you can visualize how those tests are performing, right? Using time series view of data. And then we've introduced in 1.1 a resolution status, so that when a test case fails, then you are able to quickly view what's the status, right? Was it acknowledged? Is someone actively working on, or was it resolved? And then finally, we have all the third-party integrations that you are familiar with, right? And so what we wanted to do in 1.3 is to go further in terms of how you manage test case failure and resolution, right? So in 1.3, we're introducing the resolution, the incident manager page inside OpenMetadata. And that incidents management page will allow you to have an overview of all the test cases that have failed and that have not been resolved at the moment, right? So you'll have that overview screen that will tell you which test case has failed, when it was last executed, what's the current status of my resolution, right? So is it a new failure? Is it a failure that has been acknowledged and someone is working on it? And then we are introducing the assign status, right? So at the point of failure, you now be able to assign the resolution task to an OpenMetadata user, and that assign task will then open a task inside the OpenMetadata platform, which will allow you to understand and view the resolution of it, right? And we are also taking that opportunity to revamp the way that we are presenting the test case resolution. So this page right here will allow you, when you open a test case inside OpenMetadata, to view what active and open tasks are for a test case resolution. And then you'll be able to see a timeline of the execution and what were the previous steps. So I'm going to show you a quick preview of that feature. Keep in mind that it's still we're still working on, and it's an early preview just for you because we love our community and we want to, give you a lot of love, right? So we'll show you that as a preview. So now when you are landing on the Open Metadata page and navigating to the quality page, then you have two tabs that will present themselves. So you have the traditional tab that you are familiar with, where you'll be able to view your test case, your test suite, and the number of tests by tables if you have defined that. And now you see that you have an incident manager page. So keep in mind that's working. So not all the features that we've presented in the market are currently there. So we'll add the filtering option, of course, before we ship it. But now you can see that you have the list of all the test cases that have had a failure at some point, right? So from here, what I'm able to do, I'm able to change the status, right? Similarly to what you were able to do it. So this one is assigned. So then I can move it to resolve, right? And so we still have the similar functionality where you can pick a reason and a comment as well. I'm also able to set a severity, right? Maybe that's a very critical test that failed for my table. So I'm going to put it as severity 1, right? And that will update that severity directly right here. In future releases, we'll implement logic so that we can add some inference here to have it pre-populated for you. So now when you are clicking on a test case, and so that will be the same thing for the test case view, you'll be able to now have a view of your data, right? So you'll be able to see what has been the different failure, what is the description, what is the parameter, right? Of course, keep in mind this is work in progress. And then in the issue tab, you'll be able to see if I have any open tickets. So here I have no open ticket, but I can see that I have 4 previously open tickets. So as mentioned, we're still working on that feature, but we want to give you a quick preview. So here I have an assigned one. So if I go to the issue, then I can see that I have an open metadata task that has been created. And then from there, as an admin or as the owner, I can either mark that task as resolved, right, which will resolve my task, or I can decide to reassign it to a different user. So that's what we're working on the data quality and profiling side. Now moving on to the profiler, as some of the users here may know, for the new Open Metadata users, we currently have about 20 metrics on the profiling side. Same thing, support for database and data lake with fine-grained column level profiling view and the ability to sample, partition, and filter out metrics as you wish, so that you can decide how you want to profile and bring the observability part of the tool inside Open Metadata. Now what we are shipping in 1.3 is custom metric, right? So you'll be able to generate your own metrics writing simple SQL. So to give you an example here, I've ran a profiler ingestion for one of my Redshift customers table for our beloved DBT Jaffle schema. So you can see you have all the traditional metrics that we've been shipping in Open Metadata for quite a while. And now at the bottom, you can see that I have my custom metric, right? My custom metric, which computes the count of customers, that have an LTV that is greater than or equal to 25. So like that, you can actually track metrics that are more interesting to you and that are very specific to your use case. Similarly, I have created a custom metric for the number of orders, where I'm simply computing the population variance of the number of order inside my table, right? And defining a custom metric is very simple. So here we're going to create a column 1. Now you can see that add button that allows you to add either test case or a custom metric. And then when creating a column custom metric, I can pick the column I want to, give it a name, write my SQL, submit it, and next time I will run the profiler, and my custom metric will then be computed. So it's as simple as that. So that's what we're shipping on the profiler and data quality side. And now I will give the screen back to Perry, and we are going to talk about the Knowledge Center.
Yeah, actually, I think that Sachin is going to be showcasing that. So please, floor is yours. Don't be shy to let us know all the goodies that we have there.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Sachin, and I worked as a software engineer at Bullet. In 1.2 release, we have added the support for the knowledge center so that you can create knowledge article and share them with your teams and educate them. And you don't have to, write those article in somewhere else and share the links in open metadata. So we have provided a solution in-house solution for you, and from then we are working hard to improve it. And for this 1.3 release, basically we have made these 4 improvements, and we have added support for page hierarchy so that you can organize all of your knowledge pages in some categories. And then we also added support for associating the data asset that you have with the article, so that you can get an overview like what article is linked with my data asset. And then we have made some minor improvement to the quick link. And last but not the least, we have also added the search support for the knowledge pages. So yeah, these are the improvements. So let me quickly give you some. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when you land on the landing page, and on the left hand side, you will get this knowledge center icon. When you click on it, you will be redirected to the knowledge center page. And there, as I mentioned, now we have this knowledge page hierarchy. So here, this is how you can organize all of your knowledge articles. And you can quickly add any sub page if you want directly from here, or you can also edit it, delete it if you want. So let me give you a quick demo how you can add it. So let's say I want to add new sub page under this detail view, and I have to just click on that plus icon, and it will add it and redirect to the created page, basically created new article. And here you can give some title and some description. And also we have provided an option to uh, associate the tags. So this is article, so I will associate the article tag here. And yeah. And next thing is we have added support for associating the data asset to the article. So here on right hand side, you will see data asset, and you can click on the plus icon and just quickly search the data asset that we want to associate. So I will search for yeah, and I will click on this save icon. So it will associate this data asset to the article. Now, if you click on this data asset, and if you come to this detail page, so here you can also see the listing of the knowledge article that is associated with your data assets. So that's all about associating the data asset and seeing the all article related to that particular data asset. Next thing, what we did is we have made some improvement to the quick link. So basically earlier what we had is the quick link had its own page, but after getting some feedback and from the community user, what we did decided is instead of having full page for the quick link, what we did is we uh, basically now if you click on the quick link, it will directly redirect you to the link that you have provided. So there is no full page. And if you want to quickly edit it, So we have provided a upfront option like editing and deleting. So you can click on this edit icon and quickly edit it. Also, you can click on this icon to delete the quick link. We have also added support for search. So you can click on this explore, and on the left hand side, you will see another tab, knowledge pages. And here you will get all the things like all articles and quick link. You can even filter it out by owner, or let's say I just want to see only article that I have created or my organization has. So you can quickly filter it out. And on the right hand side, for each article, you will get some quick glance so that you can see what each article has and which tag it has and what the associated data asset it has. So I think, yeah, that's all we have for the knowledge center improvement.
Yeah, let me just summarize. So if you're new to OpenMetadata and coming into the community meeting today, so Knowledge Center, the idea behind that is you have all your data assets here in OpenMetadata, all the description, documentation, ownership, whatnot. So your users come here, discover the data assets. But you might be maintaining how the data is organized in your teams, how the data platform is designed, how to access the data, whatnot, all the knowledge articles in some other wiki. We want to bring all that knowledge in a central place, because 80% or 90% of your user base will be spending time in OpenMetadata. They might as well discover and get the rich articles that you have. And as part of that, we built, state-of-art block editor. This will be kind of extending not only for knowledge articles, but you will be seeing for description, documentation for data products domains in upcoming releases. So you'll get the power of similar kind of editor everywhere. Now with 1.3, you can also organize in a hierarchical way. You can also associate, hey, for this table, why the schema is designed this way. I would like to know more about it. You may not want to put all of that into the description of the table, but you want to maybe link it to the article. Now you can just associate with that team or a table or your domain or data products and collect all of those articles there. So those are the awesome features that are coming in 1.3. Thanks, Sachin, for the awesome demo.
Thank you, Roshan. Yeah, Pere, over to you.
Thanks. Yes, so I think that Harsha, now you are up with the Lineage, so.
Thank you. I'll try to meet the bar set high by Teddy and Sachin. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Again, with the Lineage for 1.3, I want to kind of cover, since many of the new members coming in today, so I want to cover what we shipped so far, right, from the Lineage. Just so for OpenMetadata from the very beginning, back in 2021 August, when we open sourced, we set out to say that, hey, we will gonna build metadata standards and APIs. Long been the industry that we have all these catalogs and everything else, there is no clear specification how to capture the metadata itself, right? And part of that specification is we published our Lineage specification and APIs, right? So you can go click this link or go to our OpenMetadata repository. You can see all different types of specifications and APIs, and Lineage is one of the most comprehensive APIs that is out there. So often we get questions about, hey, why don't you guys integrate with Open Lineage? We can, some of the teams have already done that. It's so easy. But our suggestion here is you can actually take a look at our Lineage specification and kind of understand the details. You do not need yet another kind of intermediate specification. You can directly use this specification, put this in Kafka, directly use our APIs to publish the Lineage information. And that's what we use from ingestion side, from the UI side. Pretty much we depend on this API specification. So that's the kind of beginning of our Lineage journey, right? And next, we built an awesome editor for the Lineage, because in companies, there might be all these traditional, might not be supported by many of the major connectors that we already have, way of storing the data, file system, whatnot. You have all this tribal knowledge in your teams. You want to kind of get that out and maybe annotate the Lineage by yourself. You could use API, but we want to make it really easier to kind of express the Lineage. So you can go to the Lineage today on any tab, on any entity, click the edit button, add the Lineage by yourself. Right? This is a pretty cool feature being used by many of our community members so far. Coming to kind of next stage of our improvements. So we used to use our own SQL parser earlier. It was meeting around, I don't know, 60, maybe generous in terms of parsing the SQL queries. We wanted to kind of put a lot of investment and make the parsers, because we have around 70 connectors. We connect to pretty much every database out there, every pipeline, topics, whatnot. How do we actually get the lineage from these disparate different sources? So we invested almost 1.5 years of engineering time working on into the SQL fluff. That is a pretty good library and pretty good community in Python that covers various different dialects. And how do we actually take that SQL fluff and integrate into SQL Lineage as a parser? We contributed many patches from our team into SQL fluff and actually made SQL Lineage more performant, made it pluggable so that we can add these different parsers. So now we have very comprehensive lineage parser that works across from lookrm to MS SQL, all your, even including stored procedure support that we added recently in 1.2.0. So we're able to parse different dialects, different types of huge SQL statements, and understand the lineage, how it's flowing, and publish onto OpenMetadata. This is like when you click on the lineage workflow, it all works for you. And also, we are getting a lot of feedback from the community. They are saying, hey, this particular query is not working and whatnot. We are collecting all that feedback. We are kind of fixing those queries, these edge cases and everything else into the parsers itself. And that is an ongoing effort. Again, if you've seen anything that is not working for you, please let us know, and we'll be fixing and kind of iterating on that particular parser. And while we are going through kind of improving the collection of the lineage itself, we also improved quite a bit on the lineage UI. So what you have seen today, like if you go to, let me jump into our sandbox. Yeah, sandbox is here. So now, there's a modern UI, you can expand, and we are the first one to kind of do the SQL parsers to support the column level lineage as well. Again, you don't have to do anything else as long as we can connect to your query logs. We will be able to extract the lineage even at the column level and support it directly into the OpenMetadata, right? And now you can actually kind of have the API's ability to view the lineage, expand, shrink this entire thing right within the OpenMetadata, a simple way to kind of view the OpenMetadata. And one of the improvements that we have done in previous releases is, let's say you may have from customer thousands of nodes. Maybe this is your most popular table in the entire organization that connected by hundreds or if not thousands of tables downstream at the same level. We used to have a lot of tough time to load that because bringing 1,000 nodes and drawing in the editor is a very complex problem. And we innovated on that part of it and provided a pagination. So it will group into sections of 50 or 25. You can control that through our settings. What is your pagination, nodes per layer, for example, and paginate so that you still have the ability to view the end-to-end lineage without collapsing and have hundreds of thousands of nodes right in the UI. Now, that's the kind of a summary of what we have been doing with the lineage. So what's coming, right? There's a lot of feedback coming in. Hey, if I want to go and draw bigger depth than 3 nodes, and if I want to go draw a bigger height than in the vertical space, how do I achieve that? The problem with that is, and also I'll just describe what you're coming in, searching for a column. Let's say you have author ID from your raw tables all the way to the dashboards. And during the model tables, author ID is renamed to something else. And how do you actually find that? Like, how do you actually find a column that is being used across my teams, my data, and everything else? How do I drive root cause analysis through the lineage? Maybe you have an upstream pipeline failure that is affecting your dashboard, your model table, or whatnot. How do I find that out? And again, this is again a popular request. How do I propagate tags and description? Because I just want to define at one place and have it carry through my lineage all the way to the downstream, right? So these are the problems that we are looking into. And what's currently shipping in 1.3.0 is how do we scale the lineage to all these different types of queries that you are interested, right? For example, I see this lineage. This is great, but I want to know if there is a PI tag anywhere here. Now, just looking at here in this model, it's hard to drive that, right? Now I want to, filter by certain service type. I want to filter by ownership, teams, or whatnot. There is not much we can do because all of this data is coming from our database right now, currently. And it's kind of harder to marry that and filter it. It will be really complex query. It will be really slow. The user experience will not be what we would like to kind of ship it as part of OpenMetadata. So with that in mind, what we are trying to do in 1.3.2 is to build a lineage graph, take the database that we already have, push it into Elasticsearch and OpenSearch, and add APIs on top of that to do graph-like queries on top of search indexes. So if you notice, if you are a kind of a power users or already used in OpenMetadata, anything that is happening in OpenMetadata is captured and published into a relational database like MySQL or Postgres. We will do a live indexing so that you can actually do searches and everything like tags and filtering. Now, the complexity of that is how do you support search on top of a graph-like structure? So that is the complexity that we are trying to work in 1.3.2 and ship it. So what we have done so far is to publish all these entity references, lineage relationship into Elasticsearch, and we do a relation right now within the Elasticsearch or OpenSearch into those indexes already available, like your table information, your pipeline information, your topics, whatnot. Now we will also build the APIs that you can query saying that, hey, I'm in daemon address, give me all my upstream, give me all my downstream, similar to the APIs exist today. But you can now scale to n number of lengths without any hesitation, right? And also interesting is now you can also do filterings on different attributes, just like you do in search explore page. And we want to actually, showcase what, if you look at right now, you get column details, when you click on the panel, we make additional calls to get you the most interesting information about stage orders. For example, it has 3 tests and none of them are aborted, none of them are failed. That's great. I have a bunch of schemas and everything else. And it will be great to see all of this directly in the panel instead of clicking and finding out as a summary. Now we may have pipelines and you would like to see a pipeline is breaking or not. Like imagine you are a dashboard owner and something is failing in your dashboard, you come to the lineage. If you can just click on that and expand all the way upstream, if you see there is a pipeline that is failing, it's really informative. It's actionable information for your user. Oh, my dashboard is failing because this particular pipeline is failing. Maybe I'm going to go ping that owner of the pipeline, right? So all of that is going to get powered by the new APIs that we are building, and we're bringing all that power into the UI itself. Now, I'm going to do a quick demo of that. Again, we are, putting all the final touches, making it ready for prime time come January. So a little bit of things that you will like to see here. So this is kind of a familiar UI. So if you actually notice what we are bringing here is, you can see the service icons. Compared to what we have is table and everything else. You might not know which table, which particular service this happens. Now you can look at the table, the lineage here directly and see that, okay, this daemon address is actually belongs to BigQuery. And this orders dashboard is coming from Looker. So you know which service type by just looking at the lineage view. And most importantly, now you have some other information, which is the test cases itself. So daemon address. Okay, all of the 4 test cases, and one is aborted and none of them are failed. All of that information right there. So again, if a lot of these tests are failing, you actually, by looking at the graph itself, you understand something is bad with this daemon address table and can do root cause analysis directly from the lineage view. And the cool thing that we are doing here is now I want to find out, I'm looking at this lineage, I'm a data governance guy. I want to find out if there are any PII data in this particular lineage. So I'm going to go click on my filter. I'm going to look at the tag. I'm going to select PII sensitive. Okay, this is the table that has the PII data. So now you can also look at search based on ownership, service, tier, domain, and all of these things within the context of the graph. This will be really powerful for all of our users, and how to filter, how to kind of dice the data, and how do you find what is a root. And we'll be adding also, one thing I forgot to mention is, if the pipeline has last known status, we'll be displaying right here. So something failed, aborted, successful, you can see what's happening right within the lineage view. And I'm not able to demo right now because it requires a lot more data than what I have, but you will be able to kind of expand the nodes much higher length because now we are able to service that requests much more quickly because of the search indexes and everything that we have, and directly bring that data into your fold. So you can have probably end-to-end, maybe hundreds of depth, and directly view that data right in the lineage. You can also be able to search based on the columns and everything else and tables, and trace at the column level if this order ID is being used, what are the places that you can use. So all of that is in progress. What we have done so far is to build the APIs and kind of start working on the UI and integration into that. So it will be great to see how you will be using this. Any feedback for this will be greatly appreciated. And yeah, that covers the Lineage demo for today. I don't think we'll leave some time at the end to take the questions. I think in the interest of time, I'm going to do really fast data observability and notifications. Again, just to recap, if you're new to the OpenMetadata, from the very beginning of that, OpenMetadata, you started generating metadata change events. What is metadata change events? Any change, for example, you have a table called orders. You've been using orders. At some point, you may add a new column, or you removed an existing column that no one is using. That is, you're making these changes in Snowflake, BigQuery, Redshift, or MS SQL, whatnot, right? That change will be coming to OpenMetadata, and we look at it. Is it a backward incomparable change? Is it a progressive change? We version that metadata, and also we publish a change event. That change event can be integrated as a, hey, I want to capture all the changes that are happening within my source and OpenMetadata. I want to listen to that. So you can actually go to the settings, for example. I'm going to quickly show what we have here. Settings, click on the alerts and create an alert and say that, I want to trigger on all the data assets, add filters, select destinations such as email, Google Chat, Webhook, MS Teams, Slack, right? This gives you a lot of insights into what's happening in your source system, within the OpenMetadata. Let's say someone adding a PI sensitive tag, or your pipeline is failing, or your data quality test case is failing, or something like that. You can trigger all of these alerts today, right? This is what's available today through the power of metadata change events. So what we want to bring here is one of the important things that we want to kind of bring in terms of usability of it and deliverability of these notifications, right? So what you see, alerts will be changing into two things: data observability and notifications. First of all, we want to kind of make the change event that we are storing, we actually publish into change events entity. There's a table in OpenMetadata that is captured. And we want to kind of provide a durable queue kind of thing on top of database. Could be MySQL or Postgre that you're using it. From why we are doing this off database is, instead of kind of introducing yet another service like Kafka or a bunch of other messaging queues, we don't want to kind of add more complexity to run the OpenMetadata. That's been the core principles from very beginning. We want to kind of make it simplified, easy to run OpenMetadata at scale in production. So instead of, again, creating another queue, what we are doing is take the change event entity, all the change events that are landing into this particular table will be read off as a queue format. We know where what are the change events that are processed. So we need to go and create an alert. For example, I want to listen to all the data quality test cases on all the statuses publish into my team room or a generic public room in Slack. So when you create this alert, it will create an event consumer. It will start reading all these change events and says that start publishing. Let's say maybe Slack is down, OpenMetadata itself is down, right? Let's take the example of Slack being down or whatnot. At this point, we're not able to send the notifications. We're going to pause at that point based on that. And even if the OpenMetadata server itself is down, this particular offset is written into consumer table. And next time when the OpenMetadata server is kind of back up, it will kind of come from that particular notifications, so that you won't lose any notifications during that time that is being sent out. So you won't forget it. You will come back to the exact location and start publishing into whatever the alerts you have. So what does that means for you? It means any critical information that is being generated in OpenMetadata now is reliably delivered into all of your channels. And these are, we used to have an we currently have an issue when you have multiple servers of OpenMetadata. Let's say you went to one OpenMetadata server and made a change to alert. This will not be able to propagate into multiple servers. Now it can with this updates that we have done. So those are the technical background on the backend side of the things. So what we're going to do in terms of the UI changes and everything. Right now, if you go to the settings and want to kind of, there is only alerts, want to listen to, let's say, test case, you need to come here and add a test case results by and everything else, failed success and about it. We want to kind of define this into two separate things. One is notifications. Hey, I want to listen to updates such as ownership change, tags, description, and I want to get an email, such as when a task is assigned to me and everything else. Those becomes notification, a simple notifications tool. Then we want to make it really easy to create a more important alert, such as data observability alert. Hey, notify me when there is a schema change happening in anywhere in my tables, topics, container schema, whatnot. Notify me if a data quality test case is failing, or a pipeline status is failing. If there is a data set being deleted, add it. Those are kind of important alerts, more like observability alerts that we want to separate this out so that you can kind of easily schedule it, easily add to it, and continue to observe the data and all the things that are going in OpenMetadata separately and a different kind of cadence and everything else. On this topic, we would like to kind of toss out to this community. If you're doing any data quality data observability alerts today in your infrastructure, please let us know so that we can actually add to the list so that it's easy for you to schedule these alerts right within OpenMetadata. So how you observe your data and everything else, please let us know. We have a bunch of examples that we are working with, but any community feedback will be really important for us to get this right, this experience right. So these are the changes that are coming in for the data observability and notifications in 1.3.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Harsha. I think that, well, really looking forward to the Lineage, really looking forward to the data observability, actually being able to make sense of everything that's happening, being able to sleep tight at night because you know that you are going to have alerts, resolutions, root cause analysis. I think that it's going to make all of our lives easier. So thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for your questions. We've been trying to answer everything in Slack. If we missed something, sorry, not in Slack, in Zoom. If we missed something, please join our Slack community. We can continue the conversation there. But we still have a few minutes. So in case that there are any questions about the topics that we discussed today, please feel free to unmute and we are happy to take the conversation.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you very much for the presentation. The first question, do you support Open Lineage standard? Which means, can we, for example, ingest any metadata from the Open Lineage standard in OpenMetadata or not?
You can. There are quite a few teams that are already doing it. I think that's where I was pointing earlier in my slides is, do you really need an Open Lineage as an intermediate? We are curious to understand, just as a kind of discussion point. Because the API that we also have, the specification we have, is beyond just, for example, if you look at Open API, Open Lineage rather, that's what you're asking, right? I keep confusing. There are too many open things going on. Did you say Open API or Open Lineage?
Open Lineage.
Open Lineage, sorry. So if you look at the specification of Open Lineage, their specification is centered around pipeline, right? There is a table that is getting read by a pipeline that is getting created into another table or something like that, right? So what we took as separate from their view is to consider all types of lineage, right? You may have a dashboard that is directly reading from a table. You may have a view that is getting created from another table, right? These are not intermediately faced with a pipeline. So you need a better specification in that concept to capture all of these different details. That's where we came in, we published very early in the stage, is to have a generic lineage definition. So if you go to the Open Metadata lineage specification, capture pretty much everything there. So to answer your first point, yes, you can connect Open Lineage to Open Metadata and get that. But also our question is like, you may probably don't want to need to do this. Like, why convert into another specification? Because we already have a specification that is there.
Yeah, I'm asking that because I mean, okay, I'll ask differently. How do you integrate with Databricks jobs, for example? Is it like the same batch job that's getting the metadata directory from the cluster, or is it differently?
Do you want to take that?
Yeah, so for Databricks, we extract different kinds of information. In terms of jobs, I think that we are picking that up as pipelines, and then we would be trying to build the lineage out of it. Or also if, like, let's imagine that you're using the SQL warehouses, then we are also going to be able to extract the automated lineage by tokenizing the queries, understanding the different ingredients, and putting that on the OpenMetadata lineage directly. Or even if you're using Databricks with the Unity catalog, we are going to be able to extract all of that information from the catalog itself. So the idea is that we are creating our own connectors, our own processes on how we connect to the sources, make sense of that information, and bring it into OpenMetadata without having to rely on any third-party tools, in this case, be it OpenLineage, in order to get that information.
Yeah, so because what I'm saying is that the ingestion batch file that we defined, the YAML one, what I tried, I mean, it does connects to the clusters, but we have ephemeral clusters, which means that the cluster run and then does the transformation and then it shut down, so we can't get any information more from the cluster. So my question is, how do you get that lineage? How do you know which table was written from which job or by which job or read by which job? I mean, yeah, how do you get that information?
Yeah, I would say then let's do one thing in order to fully understand what is your use case. How are you basically organizing the different clusters, if you are sharing any warehouses, or what basically how can we make sense of the shape of your platform? Maybe we can continue this discussion directly in Slack so that we get all the insights on how you are organizing your assets, and then which would be the right approach that we currently have here in order to extract the right information there. Would that work?
Yeah, okay. I will send you a message there.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have a question. Can you guys handle one more question?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's about, you had a little blurb early on about policies, right? And my question is this: does the product support enforcement of policies, or does it only publish what the policies are? So, for instance, if you had a table that had PI information data in it, and someone tried to put it into a Tableau dashboard or something, and the policy was, we don't do that. I mean, does it expose a violation of policy, or does it just tell you what the policy is? That's the question.
Yeah, so there is two concepts here. One is roles and policies, which is, who are the users of OpenMetadata, what data they can interact, right? That's one part. I'm going to leave that out there. The next part is you have PI sensitive data or personal data that you don't want people to use, accidentally use or whatnot in their dashboards. Right now, you will be able to discover what are the PI sensitive data and where it's actually getting propagated. But we are not kind of saying that, hey, this dashboard is using PI sensitive data, which nobody should be using that as my organization rules. These are some of these use cases we are looking into and considering for the future roadmap, but not currently.
Yeah, actually, it's two different things, right? What we are doing in terms of roles and policies within OpenMetadata is giving access control and permissions on what you can do on the metadata that is stored in OpenMetadata, right? Whether you can add a tag to a table within OpenMetadata, whether you can see it or not, whether you can add a test, can you set ownership, things like that. So that is the roles and policies that we have.
Yeah,
right?
I get
And now there is also roles, there is policies for accessing the data itself, right? And we are not in the path of data access, right? And so what we can do, for controlling access to the data itself is integrate with other solutions by propagating the tags that we have in open metadata, and then these systems like Ranger can enforce data access.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, fine. I get it. But, I mean, you mentioned that you have alerts in the Lineage portion of the program. And so, but your example was at the table level. And, I think I'm being more specific to the column level. And if you could see in Lineage that a certain column that was tagged with PI information was going to Tableau, could you not create an alert? And therefore, you could have, in a non-direct way answered, yes, we do support policy enforcement through Lineage, right? And so I'm not trying to lead the witness or anything. I just
but alerting is not the real access control, right? Alerting is just telling some Tableau dashboard is using a column, right? That's one thing. The second thing is
you're absolutely
we need to be able to capture the fact that Tableau is not allowed to use PII, right? If we can capture that, we can definitely say, hey, we are not controlling the access to the data, but however, there is a violation here that we expect these dashboards not to use PII, but through Lineage we detect that they are, right? So definitely something to discuss about.
All right, cool with that. Thank you for taking the question.
Awesome. So thanks a lot for all the questions. Thanks again for the time. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Hope you enjoyed this sneak peek on all the cool things that the team is doing for 1.3. Please start the project. Reach out to us on Slack. As Shilpa was saying, we're going to upload all these recordings into YouTube in case that you want to review it, in case that you want to share it with the rest of your peers. And really looking forward to see you at the next one. And Harsha, you want to say something?
Yes, one quick note. The data observability, we sent a message, I think a couple of days back or a day back in the Slack about how you're kind of doing it. What are the practices that you're using? Like one example that Ed gave was a really interesting use case. So if you have any other use cases such as this, please come to us so that you can inform us. And while we are developing this, we can consider actual real world use cases that you're struggling with, or that you're kind of doing a makeshift. Right now, we can address them really cleanly in OpenMetadata. So really looking forward for any feedback there. So please take time, and if you can organize a Zoom and get everyone together, we will do that. But if you can show the interest, that'll be great. And any feedback here will be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and to add on to Harsha, observability, quality, anomaly detection. So that's the whole package.
Awesome. So yeah, thanks both for the pointers. Thank you everyone for your time. Ezequiel, it was great seeing you. So thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your days. I will see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.